Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking to you about a new project. Now you might notice that this video is a little bit longer than usual. Don't let that intimidate you. This is a project that you might not finish in one sitting. In fact, I encourage you to work on it, take a break, and work on it again a little bit later so you can add as many details and take as much time as you want. What I'm going to be showing you today is how to draw a 3D city. And this city has what's called a bird's eye view. Bird's eye view means you're looking down at something, because birds fly up in the sky, so when they look down at us, it's a bird's eye view. So you're seeing the tops of these buildings. You're kind of looking at it as if you were a bird flying over, which is kind of a cool way to draw a city, and probably a way that a lot of you have not drawn a city before. There are some things that we're going to talk about while we're doing our drawing though. One thing is how you can make things look like they are closer and further away. When things are closer, they're bigger. They're lower on the picture. When things are further away, they are smaller and higher up. But we're going to talk about that as I'm drawing too. Now this is something you definitely want to start in pencil first. So get a pencil and an eraser. Also, if you want to do yours like mine, you want to have both markers and crayons or color pencils. So markers for sure, crayons or color pencils will help you out as well. But this is just something we're going to take our time, we're going to work on it together. I really encourage you to stop and pause the video and re-watch things if you feel like you missed it. And also I encourage you to be really creative with this drawing, because you can make this all sorts of different ways. It doesn't have to be just a regular town. It could be a Halloween town, could be a candy town, could be a farm town with a bunch of animals. So be creative when you're working on this. But let's get started with some of our basic shapes and learn how to draw our buildings 3D. Also, last week I put out 2 different videos on how to draw 3D shapes. If you missed those, the links will be in the description, so I definitely recommend checking those out as well. But for now, let's get started. Our first step with our 3D bird's eye view drawing is we're going to draw the tops of our building's roofs. So, what you're going to draw with a pencil is basically a square that's tilted, or you can think of it like you're drawing a diamond. You want all 4 sides to be about the same. You can see on this green one, I didn't do the best job, so it looks a little wonky. So take your time drawing your square or your diamond shape nice and even. I'm gonna do 2 near the bottom first. And then I'm going to draw my 2 that are a little higher up. Now you could do 3, you could do 5. You don't have to do exactly 4 buildings. I would say at least do 3, and then you can do a few more if you want to. If you do too many, it'll be hard to add details. Something you can do, if it makes it easier for you to make your square, is you could actually start by doing a plus sign. And it doesn't need to be a plus sign that's straight up and down. It can be tilted, and then you make lines connecting the pieces together. Alright, so I have all 4. I'm going to erase the X. And now I'm going to draw vertical lines coming down from 3 of the 4 corners that I drew. We'll start with the bottom ones because those are easiest. Make a line that goes straight up and down to the bottom of your paper from that corner, this bottom corner, and the furthest one. Do that for both buildings. Now for these ones that are up a little bit higher, you could draw the lines that go all the way to the bottom, but then your buildings are going to look a little strange and you won't have room to make a road or anything like that. So what I would recommend you do is make your vertical lines, but have them stop before they go all the way to the next building or all the way to the bottom. Your middle line is going to go lower than these 2 on the side. The 2 on the side should be the same height, and the one in the middle should be lowest. Then what you're going to do, very similar to the pyramid drawing I showed you last week, is you're going to connect that middle line to these two side lines. It's behind this building here, so I'm just kind of imagining where they would connect. On this one, I'm going to start with my middle line and make that the longest, and then these two side ones are going to be shorter, and the side ones will be the same as each other. And then just connect. So when objects are closer to you, they're gonna, for one thing, look bigger, like these two are bigger. And also, things that are closer will look lower on the page. So these ones that are smaller are also higher up on the page, and you can see the bottoms of them, where these ones that are closer, you can't. Now let's real quick draw a line across the back that shows where the ground and the sky meet. So we have what's called a horizon line here. That again shows where ground and sky meet. What I want you to do before you go on is I want you to grab your markers and I want you to color each building a different color. Notice how I started on each of my buildings, on the finished one, by doing the top part of the building a solid color with markers. And then the bottom part I only outline the lines I did. It's like when we trace things with a Sharpie, but instead of Sharpie, we're using marker. And we're using different colors. Do a different one for each building. Alright, so we have the colors in for our buildings. We're not going to color the rest of the building in yet because we need to add our windows and our decorations. So let's get started on those windows. You're probably thinking, how are we supposed to make the windows look 3D to match the rest of the building? And it's not that hard, but you just have to think about it while you're doing it. So the most important thing is that all of your windows and doors on the buildings, the sides should be straight up and down, but the tops and bottoms of the windows are going to either be slanted this way or slanted this way. And it all depends on the roof of your building, which side it's on. If you did the pyramid drawing last week that I showed you guys, on that one I talked about how the lines and the bricks had to match the bottoms of the pyramids. This is the same thing. So I'm going to draw a window here. I look at the roof of the building, and the top of my window is going to be slanted the exact same as the top of the building. Then for the sides of my windows, I'm doing lines straight up and down. They match the sides of the building, which are straight up and down. And then the bottom of my window will match that top of the roof. So now I have a window that's three-dimensional. I can do one on the other side. I started with the side this time, straight up and down, but this time I'm gonna match the roof on this side. See, it's slanted the same way. The sides are straight up and down, the bottom is slanted like the roof. If I wanted to add a door, I would normally start by doing the sides straight up and down, but then the top of my door matches the roof. The roof is the same as the bottom, so you can match them that way too. So slanted, straight up and down, and then I could add a little doorknob or something like that. Go around your buildings and practice making windows that are slanted. If you just draw a window like this, it doesn't look 3D, it looks flat. So practice drawing them slanted on the tops and bottoms to match the roof. If you need to rewatch that part of the video, go rewind it right now and keep watching until you figure out how to do it on yours. Now that I have my windows drawn in, I would love to add some of these details, but I'm actually gonna work on making the rest of my bird's eye landscape. So for one thing, adding a road through your little town is a great idea. Remember though, when things are further away, they should look smaller, and as they get closer, they should get bigger. So your road should start small near the top and bigger at the bottom. I'm gonna do 2 lines that curve this way. And when I get close to where my buildings are kind of in the way, I'm gonna have my road split into 2 directions. One going this way, and one going this way. Now on this side, I can't really draw the other side of my road because it's blocked, but on this side I can. Notice how I made it much bigger here and it's much smaller there. If you want to draw lines in your road, start off with them small, and as you get closer to the bottom, you can make them thicker. See how they're just little thin lines here and they're thicker here. I'm also gonna think about what's happening in my background. You could make your town in the mountains like I did here. You could draw forests like trees. You could draw pyramids. It could be in the desert. It's totally up to you. I'm gonna do mountains again. So I draw some wavy lines that end up in a point, and some are in front, some are behind. And I love drawing a half circle and some straight lines so that I can make my sun be like a sunset. So I can make the sky lots of pretty colors. All right, we're getting close to being done with our details. If you want to add some decorations on the grass, like I added trees, remember, bigger trees that are closer are lower on the picture. If you draw trees close to the top, they should be very small. So up here, if I draw a tree, 2 lines and some little fluffy lines like that, small tree. If I draw one here, I should make it bigger. So just think about that as you're adding details and designs. It doesn't have to be trees, but really anything. Flowers, bushes, cars, people. Smaller up here, bigger down here. Now I'm gonna go through and add different things to my windows. You could add a little flower box at the bottom of some windows, but remember to make it slanted like the window. And then you can add some flowers in the window. You could add shutters on the side, but remember, the tops and bottoms should be slanted. You could add things inside the windows, like I could add down here, a little person who's looking out the window. Just go through and add lots of details and make your town interesting. You could add a sign. Anything you want, just take your time and be creative. At this point, I've drawn all my details and designs. I'd love to see you guys be creative. Maybe you could make your town like a Halloween town, like you can make it haunted, or you can make it a candy town. You can really make it whatever you want. But I made mine pretty similar to the first one. When it comes time to color, I really want you guys to take your time and decide how you want to color it in. But I do have a recommendation for you. When it comes to the buildings, do not color any part of your buildings in with marker except for what we already did. If I were to take my blue marker and color the rest of the building in, it would not look 3D anymore. I would totally ruin all the work I did earlier. Take a color pencil and color in your buildings using that so that you can still see the original lines that make it 3-dimensional. But when it comes to the rest of your picture, it's totally up to you how to color it in. On the original, I did use marker for my lines on the road. I outlined my road in marker, and I outlined my mountains with marker and colored those in. The rest I did crayon or color pencil. You can watch how I color for the rest of the video, or you can just do yours however you want. But take your time. You probably took a lot of time adding your details and designs to this. So why rush now and make it look sloppy? Remember, if you color light, the color is going to look more pale, which is fine if you want it to look that way. If you press harder, the colors will look darker, but it's going to take you much longer. I usually prefer to color things in by pressing lightly, because otherwise I'm gonna have to keep sharpening my pencils or crayons, and it just takes way too long. I might press hard on 1 or 2 parts if I really want them to stand out. Also, if you press too hard over the top of your pencil, you're not going to see the pencil underneath. So it's actually better for you to color lightly when you're working on your little details. Otherwise, you're really going to erase a lot of the work that you did. I also recommend that you color most of your picture in with crayon or color pencil unless you feel like the part you're coloring in is too hard to see. Because if you color everything in with marker, it's going to be hard to see all your little designs and details that you made. Marker is not a good thing to use if you have a lot of small details in a picture because it kind of just blurs a lot of them out to the point where you can't see them anymore. All right, you guys, I am all finished coloring in my second picture. Yes, it did take me a while, and yes, it will take you a while too if you are taking your time and adding lots of details. What's cool about this picture is we've kind of combined a lot of our knowledge, stuff that we learned last week, and if you're one of my students, stuff that we've been learning when I've been your art teacher. So we combined a lot of different things to create this picture, and that's really cool. That's when you know you're becoming a real artist, is when you take things that you have learned before and you are using them and combining them with new things you're learning to make a new picture. So take your time, you guys. It really should take you a bit. If you are one of my students, again, you should not be done on the first day. You should be taking your time on it and make it as creative and unique as you want. All right, guys, I hope you had fun making your 3D cities with me. I know they take some time, but I think they're really cool, and it gives you a lot of opportunities to be really creative and make yours unique to you. So keep taking your time on it, take a break, come back to it later if you need to, and if you finish yours, I would love to see it. So please let me see yours. If you're comfortable doing that, you can share it with your email. You can share it on Google Classroom if you're one of my students, or if you're in a Google Meet with me, you can show me there. But I'd love to see yours. Hope you guys had fun with this one again, and I will see you next time for our next video. Bye.